Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I need. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Perfect. Put the computer here. Hare Krishna. Very auspicious day today, on Balaram's appearance day. Great significance for us in Krishna consciousness for the performance of devotional service. So, I have the wrong spectacle here. In my jacket. 1 second. In my jacket. My jacket was here.
I have one here.
Yeah. One second, let me just get organized. Yeah, and I need the mouse. The mouse is in there. It's better. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I take a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I read it. Avatara yasankyeya hare sattva nider dvija yatha vidasina kulya sahasa sarasa shu sahasraha ejit samsa kale pungsam Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. So in these verses is expressed the hierarchy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's a hierarchy. Wait a minute, not so close. Is this close?
It's fine like that.
This okay?
No, it's too far. The mic low.
This way? Okay. The hierarchy. That Krishna, there are many incarnations, expansions of Krishna, avatars of Krishna. And but of all of them, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma also, Sri Brahmaji, in his Brahma Samhita, explains that Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami, that Supreme Lord, Satchitananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda, Sarva Karna Karnam, he is the cause of all causes. Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Bhagavatam confirms the same thing, that he is the cause of all causes. Now, when we come to Balaram, he is the first expansion. Actually, the first expansion is Srimati Radharani to his one side, and to the other side is Lord Balaram. The direct, immediate expansion on his right side is Lord Balaram. On his left side, the immediate, direct expansion is Srimati Radharani. And then, since we are talking about Balaram's appearance day, from there, from Balaram comes Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva, etc. And the whole aspect of taking care of the material world is taken care by Lord Balaram. It is not Krishna himself. Krishna himself never leaves Vrindavan, and he comes only into the material world in the 28th day of Brahma as Krishna himself, like in this particular yuga. And also he comes into the material world directly as what? Anybody knows? Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is actually Krishna himself. It's not an expansion of Krishna. It's Krishna himself. That's why we have in the spiritual world, in Krishna's abode, Goloka Vrindavan, you have the pastimes of Krishna in terms of his Radha Leela with the gopis, in terms of that relationship, and then you have the relationship of Krishna to his Sankirtan movement. Like you see here on this big picture, it shows that it really shows this very well. On the upper part, you see Krishna's pastimes with the gopis in Madhura. And then underneath, you see the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. That's also in Goloka Vrindavan. So when Krishna comes into this material world, it is Krishna himself. It is not an expansion. When he comes as Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya also, he's not an expansion. It is Krishna himself. These are the two times that actually Krishna comes. And it says also that in other yugas, Krishna doesn't come himself as Lord Chaitanya. It's an expansion, but in this particular yuga. So from there, as says here in this verse, innumerable forms of Krishna, Swamsa. They're called Swamsa, Vishuddhatattva. And these forms, they're eternal and they are complete and perfect, and then you have Vibhinamsasya living entities, which are perfectly imperfect. We are perfectly imperfect expansions of Krishna in the material world. And so Lord Balaram, he is the immediate expansion of Krishna, and he manifests, like as I already explained, that the Chaturbuja, the Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, and then from Vasudeva comes the Mahavishnu, and then Shesha comes from Shankarshan. And they are creating the material world. Lord Mahavishnu lies down on the causal ocean, and protected by Shesha and comforted by Shesha, by the couch of Ananta Shesha, and then millions of universes are emanating. And then the other day I explained in another lecture that when this Mahavishnu glances over the material world, that the halo of that glance is actually Sadashiva. It's an expansion of Mahavishnu, but it's an expansion of Mahavishnu. And that glance carries that effulgence of the glance of Mahavishnu carries then the living entities into the material world. When Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita, that I'm the father of all Sava Yonishu, of all living beings, not just humans, all souls in the material world. So Balaram is very dear to Krishna, and it is very significant that Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, he established Krishna Balaram temple, which is unique. We don't have this anywhere else really, because he wanted to establish the hierarchy, that Radha Krishna is on the right side, Radha Shyam, and then there is Krishna Balaram next to it. And Balaram is the most important person for us, expansion of Godhead, because without Balaram we cannot achieve the mercy of Krishna. And then Balaram is expanding himself again, or he appears as Nityananda. And when Prabhupada established a temple in Vrindavan in 1975, I think, yes, 75, if I'm not mistaken, then he actually told us that now, he said, your problems are solved, that you can just go to Lord Nityananda. which is Balaram. He didn't say, specifically, he didn't say we should go to Radha Krishna, because Radha Krishna, they asked us literally, please approach in the ultimate issue, Balarama, or in the ultimate issue, Nityananda, in our line. Because he's involved in his pastimes. The same was said by Pankaj Jangri Prabhu. One time he said, the pastimes of Radha Madhava are very high and full of obstacles. And he asked us, please, if you have any kind of requests or any kind of difficulties, you should go to Lord Nrsingadev. I've appeared particularly as Lord Nrsingadev to hear your prayers. Or, as Prabhupada said, he appears as Nityananda. And you see that when you come to Vrindavan, actually, you have the following scenario. That during the greeting, darshan, hundreds of devotees are crowding in front of Radhisham, less devotees in front of Krishna Balaram, 2 or 3 people in front of Vanitai. And that is totally wrong, actually. That's jumping over. That we are meant to go to Gaunitai, and then from there we go to Krishna Balaram, from there we go to Radha Krishna. These are the priorities that are misunderstood. Our desires, yes, of course I want to be a gopi, but let's be realistic. We are not on the level of Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami. We should approach the direct way to Krishna, and that is to Lord Nityananda via Balaram, and then to Krishna. And in fact, the spiritual master, even more step back, he is the manifestation of the Super Soul, and even more back, he is the representative of Balaram himself. And we know, yes, Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, yes, Prasada, without the mercy of the spiritual master, we cannot make any advancement. That's the most important thing. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he used to say, in London also, that I have no personal qualifications, I only try to satisfy my spiritual master. That was his main prayer. I try to satisfy my spiritual master told me to print as many books as possible, and therefore I'm distributing these books and ask you please distribute. So there you see Prabhupada's request, really, that we should assist him in his preaching mission. Very important. And from there our request goes to Lord Nityananda, to Balaram, etc., all the way to Krishna when we get Krishna's mercy. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot even chant. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot even open our eyes, close our eyes, lift our hand, or do anything. No question. We don't have this power even to scratch our head without Krishna's mercy. Not a blade can move without God's sanction. It is Him who empowers the living entity to preach, and it's Him who can turn a living entity from one moment from a great speaker into a mumbling fool from one moment to another. Because the whole thing is resting in the ultimate issue on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Balaram's position from there is extremely important to our movement, and Srila Prabhupada established out of this reason the Krishna Balaram temple with Krishna Balaram in the center to make this very clear. What is not very clear to the general mass of people, even Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas generally, they want to go to Radhisham directly. But this is not to be the situation. We have to follow our line of acharyas, and the line of our acharyas is very clear, that the mercy is coming to us from Nityananda and ultimately to Srila Prabhupada. And so that's why this day is very important, because by the mercy of Lord Balaram, we get the mercy of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how that works. There's a hierarchy there that we have to observe. It's philosophically very clear. I didn't make it up. You can read it on every page of our books. That is actually established by our acharyas to be the line of the disciplic succession, how the disciplic succession also comes down to us, the Dene Brahma Hridaya, etc., all the way to you and me. And Sakaliniya Mata Yoguna Saparantapa, when that is disturbed, the disciplic succession, then Yoguna Saparantapa, there is no progress possible. No progress possible. Impossible to advance in Krishna consciousness unless we observe the subtleness of spiritual etiquette. It's an etiquette, a very subtle rule, the subtle laws of spiritual etiquette, and understand very clearly the subtleness of the spiritual hierarchy that is existing. In the material world, the idea is everybody wrangles himself to the top. And ultimately, everybody wants to be the same in the ultimate conclusion of atheism or communism, for example. But the truth is that Lord Balaram, he is our link to Krishna. And without Lord Balaram, nothing works. And Lord Nityananda is a direct link, most direct link, for us to appreciate and approach Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, basically speaking, Lord Nityananda, Lord Krishna, Balaram is an expansion, direct expansion of Krishna's body. He's different from Krishna at the same time, non-different. They're just different forms. He's a bodily expansion of Krishna. He's the source of the entire spiritual world and also the entire material world. Is Balaram. Whatever we see. Ultimately, Prabhupada one time said, he was in London, he said, there is no such a thing like the law of gravity. Scientists think that the planets are moving on the strength of gravity. They know there's a law there. Yeah, that law is Balaram. The law is Balaram, not by some material law, by Balaram's will. By the will of Balaram, they're moving around in a particular way. So gravity is just a mundane nomenclature, nomenclature means a poor description of the truth. What is actually going on is all done by Balaram. You can see this principle once you understand this everywhere. Just like the scientists, even if they have this atomic research center CERN in Switzerland, 30 miles diameter, and trying to imitate the Big Bang, to ultimately find the source of creation, they will never be able to find, because Mother Yashoda tried in vain to tie Krishna, and she was always 2 fingers. Krishna was always the breadth of 2 fingers ahead of her. No matter how many pieces of cloth or rope she tried to tie. So it's not possible to catch Krishna. She couldn't do it. Was Mother Yashoda ultimately able to catch Krishna? By his mercy. Not by her own endeavor, yes, but ultimately by his mercy. That last 2 inches, that's his mercy. And impious people don't have that mercy. Even if they try so hard to understand the structure of the universe, they don't have that. Impious people, truth is not accessible to impious people. It's only ultimately, only by undivided devotion, Krishna says, not a little bit devotion here, a little bit there. Undivided devotion can I be understood as I am standing before you, as he says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So Mother Yashoda gives us a perfect example that the endeavors of the scientists in Switzerland who created this enormous CERN particle accelerator machine, it costs trillions of dollars. The answer is right in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can never understand the origin of the universe, which is actually the Mahavishnu. How can you come to Mahavishnu by some material calculation? Not possible. Can you clearly hear what I say? Microphone? Everything is clear for everybody? There was some suggestion that I be very strong on the microphone. Nobody can understand. People try, you cannot even understand the origin of the universe. You come one theory after the other, every theory falls because of another theory, another theory, another theory. You'll never be able to even come close to the truth. Because Krishna is always the breadth of 2 fingers ahead of you. 2 fingers ahead of everybody. Not possible. We need His mercy for chanting. Nobody can. Haida Thakur said, nobody in the world, in the universe, is able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra without distraction. He said, not one person, unless we have the mercy of Krishna. Then yes, by the mercy of Krishna, we can even chant perfectly, but not otherwise. Therefore, we have to pray for that mercy. And so this day also, this is a day that we should pray for Lord Balaram's mercy, because by the mercy of Krishna and his representative, direct representative Balaram, and by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and ultimately by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, as it says in this verse, a foolish man can become a great speaker, a layman can cross over mountains, and a blind man can see the stars in the sky, which is materially not possible. But by the mercy of Krishna, everything goes. Everything goes. It's ultimately the mercy that is available for those who endeavor. It's not that we don't have to endeavor. We have to do our best, and then Krishna will do the rest in this order. Unless we do the best, there's no question that Krishna is our order supplier. Oh Krishna, please give me this, give me that. People pray like that, give me house by the sea, Kala TV, Jaya Jagadish Hare. People pray, or other material desires, credit card or a green card to the United States of America, or let my daughter pass a driver's test. But that's not the prayer, the Paka prayer. Paka prayer is, my dear Lord, please give me your mercy, that I ultimately can serve you perfectly, that I can be useful in your desire. And so we should understand even this Sankirtan movement is conceived by Krishna himself as transpires from the discussion between, Ganga and the Lord on his departure, which is described in Brahmavavata Purana. And Ganga was crying, and she said, you leave, then all people will deposit their sin into my river, and I have to go down to Patala. And she said, don't worry. Krishna said, there's a plan B. And that plan B is that I will inaugurate this movement. There will be chanting in every place, in every town and village. That's what Krishna told Ganga 5,000 years ago. It will happen. And then he said the next thing will be the second ingredient of this revolutionary process to re-spiritualize mankind from ground up will be the Srimad Bhagavatam. As we know, Srimad Bhagavatam is causing a revolution in mankind. It says in the Bhagavatam. And the third thing is, what is the third item? Anybody knows? The Lord Krishna proposed in Brahmavavata Purana, Prasadam. He said there will be widespread people offering their food to me. It's important because the devotees of the Lord become free from sin because they eat only food that is offered to me. Others who do not, they eat only sin. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So it's an essential ingredient. And so even then Krishna himself appears 5,000 years later, or 4,500 years later, to put this great plan that was inaugurated at that time or conceived in that time into praxis by appearing as Lord Chaitanya. So there is a whole history of even the Hare Krishna movement. And because it is Krishna's plan, uttered 5,000 years ago, it cannot fail. It cannot fail. It will take time, like probably hundreds of generations. Prabhupada said to come to purity, it will take a long time. As one time, Prabhupada painted a little lotus flower, Brahmananda told us, and he put ISKCON inside, this ISKCON lettering becoming bigger and then smaller again. And so Brahmananda asked him, why are you putting ISKCON into a lotus flower? And he said, well, from the mud, gradually something very beautiful will manifest. And by the way, Gagamuni has that lotus flower. He showed it to me. And so gradually the will of Lord Krishna becomes manifest. It will take quite a long time till it becomes prominent. But it is decided already, and therefore it cannot fail. It just cannot fail. There may be difficulties, there may be this, there may be that. And all kinds of ideas may crop up, but by the end of the day, it will be 100% successful because it is Krishna's will. And wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna, there is victory. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So let us turn now to the activities of Lord Balaram. There's a prayer, by the way, that I would recommend to all of you to some or other incorporate in your spiritual life. And that prayer is given, prayer to Lord Balaram, from Sri Balabhadra Stotra Kavacha, the prayer and armor of Lord Balaram, Gaga Samhita, verse 7. And that verse is Kamatsara Rakshatu Denukari. O Lord Balaram, Krodha Sadamam Dvividha Prahari, Lobat Sadakshatu Balvalardi, Mohad Sadamam Kila Magadari. Interesting. We are approaching Lord Balaram, as I recommended in this lecture so far, and here are the prayers to Lord Balaram to facilitate that. We know from Bhagavad Gita, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Lobha, that there are these three enemies of the soul. Gates to hell, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Remember, there are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. So these three enemies are described here in this prayer to Lord Balaram. Kamat Sadadakshatu Denukari, O Balaram, killer of Denakasura. All these asuras that appear in Krishna book, when Krishna was walking with the cowboys, practically before breakfast, Krishna would kill a demon. All these demons would come. And the Denukasura was one of them, the ass demon. And he, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he gave a list of all the different qualities like lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy, these six enemies of the soul. He assigned different kind of demons to them that are killed in the Krishna pastime, not by the devotees, but by Krishna himself. So in the same way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur then said, these demons are in our heart in some way or another. Everybody has lust, greed, madness, illusion, etc. And there's nothing we can do about it except calling Krishna. Please, you help me to kill these demonic tendencies in my heart for lust, for enjoyment, material enjoyment or whatever. So the prayer is very appropriate prayer to learn or to hear about on Lord Balaram's appearance there, that Lord Balaram is approached here to kill Kama, Krodha, Lobha and Moha, these four. And at the same time, it is explained here who, in what case he actually set the practical example to do so. Krodat Sadamam Dvividha Prahari, by Dvivida gorilla. That is, I will go to the 4 demons in a minute. Lobat Sadakshatu Balvalarya, the killer of Balvala. Balaram killed Balvala also. Mohatsaramam killer Magadari, killer of Jarasandha. I have a personal doubt about this killer. I'm not clear about that. I just wrote a couple of days ago, Dina Bandhu Prabhu, who knows everything about Krishna Leela, or quite a lot. Whenever there's a question coming up about Krishna Leela, I write him. But it's on Facebook, so it's on Pamu, and it takes a little while till he picks it up, and the drop actually for the coin drops that I need his help, and from there till I finally reach the letter. So, but the others are very clear that may Lord Balaram, the enemy of Denakasura, always protect me from lust. May Lord Balaram, who killed Dvivida, always protect me from anger. May Lord Balaram, the enemy of Balvala, always protect me from greed. May Lord Balaram, the enemy of Jarasandha, always protect me from illusion. I said that because Jarasandha was actually killed by Bhima, as we know, on the instigation of Krishna, so that's where my doubt is. So I suggest that before I go into these pastimes, that we take a moment to chant this mantra together. Very appropriate on Balaram's appearance day. So please repeat, Kamat, Sada, Rakshatu, Dinukari, Krodat, Sada, Mam, Dvividha, Prahari, Lobat, Sada, Rakshatu, Balvurarir, Mohat, Sada, Mamkila, Magadari. May Lord Balaram, the enemy of Denakasura, always protect me from lust. May Lord Balaram, who killed Dvivida, always protect me from anger. May Lord Balaram, the enemy of Balvala, always protect me from greed. May Lord Balaram, the enemy of Jarasandha, always protect me from illusion. Who of you would be willing to distribute this prayer to everybody who wants it on the internet? You. I send it. I give it to you, you send it to him, and you can distribute it. Great prayer for everybody. You know, I do it all the time, and I tell you, it works. It actually has a profound effect on your spiritual life. This appeal to Lord Balaram. So I get you this prayer. Anybody who wants this prayer approaches this Prabhu.
What's the reference?
It is Sri Balabhadra Stotra, Kavacha, the prayer and armor of Lord Balaram from Gaga Samhita, verse number 7. It's all there. So let's go to this, to the different activities, how Krishna killed for the whole universe the manifestation of lust, namely Denakasura. Denakasura, as we know, was a powerful demon who achieved the form of an ass. Demons are able to do that, great advanced demons. I cannot do this, manifest form of an ass beyond what my actual constitution actually is anyway. So, but he could actually physically manifest the position of an ass, and he approached Krishna in Talavan forest in a very ferocious way when Balaram started shaking the trees. And so he approached Balaram with his rear axe and kicked Lord Balaram into his breast. And Balaram took him by the tail and whirled him around and threw him into the palm trees, and they all fell down with a huge crash, etc. It's history. So many asses came forward. And the material world is like that. Prabhupada used to say, when many small asses vote one to be their leader, then that leader must be the biggest ass. This is how he talked about the materialistic civilization. So this how Dinakasura was ultimately killed. And in this way, lust was conquered. See, very interesting, the cowboys, they just cried for Krishna. We should be like children, to cry for Krishna when we chant Hare Krishna, my dear Lord, I am incapable, please help me. Prabhupada said, like a child in the Bible, Jesus said that unless you become like children, you cannot enter the kingdom of God, which doesn't mean that with my 76 years old, that I should go into a sandbox and play with toys or put a pacifier in my mouth. Obviously not. It means the mentality of a child. The mentality of a child has a problem. He baths in his diapers and he calls his mother. He makes no endeavor whatsoever to clean himself up. He calls his mother because he knows he's not capable. So he calls his mother. So the child, like devotee, he understands I'm a spiritual child and I have to have Krishna's mercy. He cries for Krishna's mercy. That, dear Krishna, I'm blind. Please guide me. And so he asks for help from the super soul. Prabhupada was very, I give you an example. I heard from Tamal Krishna Goswami, I think it was him, that they were sitting together one time and they tried to make a decision. And Prabhupada said, here's a problem, what shall we do about that? Tamal Krishna Goswami, what is your opinion? And Tamal gave his opinion very beautifully. And Prabhupada said, no, not a good idea. Giriraj Swami, what is your opinion? He spoke. Prabhupada said, not a good idea. Who was it? Satsvarup Maharaj, what is your idea? Not a good idea. Who else was there? He went through, the finger went around. And he asked everybody. And every time Prabhupada said, not a good idea. And then the whole Tamal said, but Srila Prabhupada, what is your idea? And Prabhupada said, frankly, I don't have an idea. That's why I'm asking you. I'm asking you. And he said, and all your ideas are nice, but it is not perfect. Let us wait what Krishna says. Give it some time. And so after half an hour, all of a sudden, Prabhupada said, now we know what to do. And he gave this wonderful explanation that incorporated somehow or other all the partial aspects that somebody has given. Because if you look at this cup here, from different angles, every viewpoint is correct, but it's not complete. It's not complete. Only when you see the cup from all around, 360 vision, you can know what's complete, So he recognized all these different opinions that were as being good opinions, but ultimately he had this wonderful opinion. Tamal asked him, where did you get that idea from, Srila Prabhupada? He said, but I just waited for Krishna. And that's an important aspect, that when we're in confusion in our life, or when we don't know what to do, which is many times the situation, then let us not make a decision. You become confused if you try so. If you're in the forest, Prabhupada gave this example, and it's dark, don't make a decision, because you may fall into a ditch. Just wait for the sun. Krishna is Surya Sama Maya Andhakar. Krishna is like sunshine, Maya is like darkness. Wait for the son of Krishna to enlighten you on this. And so Prabhupada practices. He was waiting for Krishna. In all activities depend on me, Krishna says, and ultimately work under my protection. In such devotion service, you become conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, then you can cross over all the difficulties of material life by my grace. There you have it. There's the element of grace there, of mercy. By my grace, we can cross over all the difficulties of material life by Krishna's grace, not by our own biceps, by our own power. We have to do something. It's not really just about, I depend on Krishna. Krishna is not our order supplier. It's not that he supply. We have to do our part, like Arjuna. He had to do his part. He wanted to retire, and Krishna said, that's not appropriate, you're a warrior. He asked Arjuna to kill his relatives. Arjuna said, how can I do that? They're my relatives. And the sentiment is good. He wanted to be merciful. But if you are a policeman, imagine yourself a moment you're in the position of a policeman and you see your uncle steals. You cannot look the other way. If you do so, if you get caught, the superintendent of the police says, how can these impurities come upon you? They don't behoove a person who knows the higher values of life as a policeman, right? Isn't it? You say that. He says, that's corruption. That's nepotism. It's corruption. So the policeman has to act according to his dharma, policeman's dharma. And so Arjuna didn't want to act according to his dharma. He didn't want to look the other way. And Krishna said, no, I don't want you to sit down somewhere and become a Baba and send your bhajan. I want you to act. You're a warrior. Come on. Get it going. Pull yourself together, Krishna said. And then Arjuna could do it. He could defeat all these thousands and thousands, millions of people because he had that mercy of Krishna. And Krishna took that mercy away. In the end, he was accosted by some coward boys. Unimaginable. And he said, I'm the same Arjuna, I'm the same. Bogandiva is the same. And how is it that now? Because Krishna didn't have that mercy at that time. So the mercy of Krishna that we get from Lord Balaram. So as far as Dinakasura, the next verse, Krodat Sadamam Rivitha Prahari, how he killed Dvivida gorilla. He was angry like anything. Dvivida, he threw rocks on. So when Lord Balaram was enjoying the pastimes of his associates, he had gopis, and on this Raivata mountain, and this demon came, and he insulted the girls by showing his teeth, and then he lifted up his clothes, he showed his private part in front of these girls. And they were, in the beginning they laughed about his funny actions, but when they saw that, they were shocked. And so Balaram became extremely angry, and he fought with him, and ultimately he killed him, 1, 2, 3. He took his club or plow and ultimately fist and smashed him on the head. And in this way, this lust, this anger of manifested by this Dravida gorilla was killed. In the same way, Balvala, he was killed. That there was a sacred place in the mountains, I forgot the exact location, and the sages were performing in this mountain great sacrifice, and this Balvala came and he threw stones on them, and it rained stool and urine and whatnot, polluting the arena of sacrifice. He came there, and then Balaram became very angry when he saw that he was showering filth on the sages. You can read that in Krishna book 78 chapter. So he was fed up, and so then he went into action and took it. The Balvala was flying in the sky, actually. He was so powerful. He had this anima siddhi, that you can fly in the sky, that you can walk over water in the Bible. That's anima siddhi, that particular mystic power. He had that, and he flew in the sky, and Balaram, with his plow, he grabbed his beard and pulled him down on the ground and just killed him with great satisfaction. And it's very satisfying to hear that also, how this demon was killed. And so it goes on and on and on that Balaram killed Pralambasura, who tried to abduct these coward girls that were dancing with Krishna, and Krishna ran after him and killed him, smashed his skull. And so in this way, Balaram actually killed Pralambasura. And in this way, Balaram is a good bit of the destruction of these demons that came to perform Krishna's pastimes was performed by Balaram. And we know even when Krishna kills a demon in Krishna pastime, that is not done by Krishna himself, that's done by Vasudeva Krishna, who is actually an expansion of Balaram again. It's not by Krishna, he never leaves Vrindavan. As we know, he's in Goloka. So there was an expansion of Balaram, Vasudeva Krishna. Even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there's not Krishna himself, that's an expansion of Krishna through Balaram. Balaram is an aspect of Krishna that deals with the material world, particularly. Even with the spirit, creates a spiritual world as well. He's Krishna's servant, immediate expansion. And so he killed this rascal among so many other rascals. And so we can pray to Lord Balaram. We have this prayer now, very appropriate on Lord Balaram's appearance day. That, my dear Lord Balaram, I have all these things in me, all these conditionings from millions and millions of births accumulated. There's lust there, there's greed there, there's anger there. There's, we saw this film of this little monkey. I don't know if you saw it on the internet. Somebody gave him some bread, some bun. Somebody gave another bun, another one. The monkey took one bun after another, something like 20 buns, and then somebody gave a banana. He took that, another banana, and the whole floor was crowded in front of him because of all these buns that he grabbed. He couldn't stop grabbing because he was full of greed. And that I understood by Darwin. There's something about it that he says man comes from the monkey, because people are bagging things, one thing after another, trying to have as much stuff as possible, even if there already so much money. You know, one famous inventor of this computer, I won't say his name here, he used to come to our temple when he was a student and ate prasadam in the temple in San Francisco. He died with $6,250,000,000. That's a lot of money. He couldn't bring himself to give. Very unfortunate if you think about that. He could have easily say, well, they took care of me when I was a student. Let's send something. He would have never gone astray, you know. So these are the things that are torturing us: lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy, jealousy. And we have to fight these, not by fighting directly, but by asking Krishna, do please, Balaram, you are the expert in killing these impurities in the heart that have taken care of our heart. And I recommend to you to read from Shikshamrita Prabhu. I can send you this also, this Prabhu. I can send you this also, you can mail this out, from Shikshamrita of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all the different demons who were killed in Krishna Lila, who stand for these intentions, impure intentions in the heart, like lust, anger, greed. 23 of them are mentioned. Very important to read that, you know, to face that and try to deal with that in the appropriate way by approaching Lord Balaram. So I thank you very much. This much I wanted to say today. I thank you very much. I wish you a very wonderful Balaram's appearance day. Please, with a prayer or without the prayer, pray to Lord Balaram today to free yourself and free us and free the whole world from these qualities. Like greed is destroying this world. You know, wherever you look. I mean, what is the environmental catastrophe? It's greed in the ultimate conclusion. More and more and more, want to have more and more and more. The most ecological way of living is actually Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. You know, nothing was destroyed, everything was maintained perfectly. So the more mankind gets away from an agrarian-based civilization, the more Varnashram Dharma becomes impossible. It's an industrialized society. This is so far away from the original intent of the Creator. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Yes?
You were just mentioning how we're too absorbed in materialism and this technology, and further away from Varnashram.
Yeah, you have to, first of all, I'm almost deaf here. I have 30% here. You have to...
So, if one...
Best you come here and
the material...
speak in my left ear, that's the best. You don't need my... Yeah, go.
You were saying that if civilization becomes more absorbed in materialism and technology, scientific technology, then we become further away from Varnashram Dharma and further away from, Lord Krishna's lotus feet, basically. So, Durban, it means to be very far away from... Durban means very far away forest, Like Durban, it kind of means like...
Durban.
Durban.
Yeah, Durban is very far away. So every place in the material world is Durban. Very far away from Vrindavan.
Yeah.
There are plenty of places in the Western world, in our temples, I can think of Durban. I-10, So that's the situation. And Srila Prabhupada, he said a remarkable thing in his last days. Somebody gave him medicine, his servant, and Srila Prabhupada asked the servant, it was the second last day. I was actually amazed when I heard this little interface, Prabhupada interfacing with the devotees. I was one of them standing there. And he said, did you close the bottle? And one may think that's a very little thing. But Prabhupada said, no, he said, I didn't. And Prabhupada said, you know how to open bottles, you don't know how to close them. You start so many new things and you don't see the consequences. There you have it, This whole oceans are destroyed, rivers are destroyed, air is destroyed, earth is destroyed, our bodies are destroyed, the food is destroyed. Why? Opening bottles. Let's try this one, let's try that one, let's try... Humanity is being killed by this mentality of opening bottles, not seeing the consequences. Not seeing the consequences, And then Prabhupada concluded that you know how to live, but you don't know how to die. And therefore I have to show you. And then little later he called Yadubar, the filmer, he called Yadubar, you can film when I die. And so if you can see on the film, Prabhupada actually, the last thing he said is everything moving and non-moving, there's nothing but Krishna. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. That's the last thing he said. And then he said, Hare Krishna. And he was already gone by that time. He was left and this tremendous kirtan broke out in his room. So one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, yumam pashyati savatra savam chamai pashyati. Tasyana pranashami satramina pranashati. One who sees me everywhere. That's the mentality of a Mahabhagavata. He sees everywhere. If he sees, like if we see, we are supposed to, if I see religiosity anywhere in the world, I went into a Russian Orthodox church last 2 years ago, and I saw a young boy praying in front of the icon, and ultimately went like this and kissed the icon, and the tears were pouring down from his... I was moved by that. You're moved by that if you see piety in any type of religiosity. whether it's Christian or Muslim or religion is religion. Religion means that's what connects you to God. So I was moved by that. So if people are not moved by that, if they become angry of somebody else's religion, that means they weaponized the original teachings of the founder. They weaponized it, like you can weaponize a philosophy. So love your neighbor as yourself with all your heart. Like you said, you can weaponize that and say, I love only the Christians, and particularly the Christians in my particular congregation, not the Catholics, not the Methodists, not the Baptists, not the Seventh-day Adventists, not anybody except my church. And everybody else goes to hell. That means you weaponize the pure teachings of Jesus. You're far away from the truth. Because one who sees me, a pure soul, he sees God everywhere, and he sees worship of God in different grades, of course, but he appreciates, he sees God everywhere. In nature. There's Albert Schweitzer, he was a famous doctor. Have you ever heard of him? Lambarene, he was a doctor, Protestant doctor, who went into West Africa. There was a little village, Lambarene, and he said that when he looks into the eyes of the young African children, he says, I see Jesus in their eyes. I thought that was very beautiful. So one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. That's what Srila Prabhupada's vision. That's why he was such a great soul. Because he would not only talk, he would also walk his talk. He would practice it up to the last moment. He was seeing Krishna everywhere. There's nothing but Krishna. That was his last sentence. There's only one living entity in the final conclusion. There's a verse about it. Only one living entity, and that's God, and we are all his expansions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.